Are we live?
I
Yeah,
think
because we're live.
yeah. All right. It's been a while since I've done this. I'm like, I can't tell. I don't know what I'm doing. But welcome everybody, and I'm saying welcome right now to the people who are watching this video because we don't really have anybody in the room just yet. So, if anybody watching this after the fact, welcome. Been a long time since I've gotten together with Josh and Aaron, and we haven't done this since, God, I don't know, what has been, like October maybe before Thanksgiving. So
I think so.
yeah, we kind of got away from it for a little bit, but like I try to do, it's a new year, try to start things off, try to get a regular weekly live stream going. So we'll see how that goes. But today, we wanted to talk about our favorite purchases, new or old. Doesn't have to necessarily be new releases from 2024, but I haven't done really any. I mean, I kind of did one after Christmas, like vinyl, stuff I got for Christmas. But when I do vinyl, when I get new vinyl or when I go out and buy stuff, I don't usually do an episode. I used to, but just in recent years, I haven't done that. So this is kind of a way to kind of catch up with that. But how you guys been?
Awesome. Thanks, man. I mean, I've been sick for a couple weeks, but I'm feeling so much better now. Unfortunately, every team that I wanted or my friends wanted in the playoffs lost. So football is not as fun as it should be, but I'm going to watch the games this weekend. Everything's good.
Good. Now I got to figure out, how do I see the comments? Sorry, talk amongst yourselves.
Aaron, why don't you tell everybody about Tipsy Tuesday, dude?
I just haven't done one for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll get back to it. I've been taking a break from videos since my wife had a couple surgeries, and I'll get back into it. I just got to get back into the momentum. Hopefully next week I'll put one out. I'm hoping. I was going to last week, but it didn't quite work out. So hopefully next week.
This is my peer pressure way to try to get you to do it, but
yeah. Well, life happens. You got any honorable mentions, Aaron, you want to show? I know you had quite a stack that you were anxious to get into.
Well, I don't know if I will until after, because I don't want to use something as an honorable mention that someone else will use. And then if I do all my 10, and then I'll just wait. I don't have a whole lot this time. I don't have a stack of 60 this time. I only stacked about 20 or 30.
I love it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have you any other way. All right, well, the order we're going to do this in is we'll just go record by record, and I'll start with Josh, then Aaron, and then I'll go last. So, Josh, you want to show your first purchase from, and these don't have to be necessarily in any order. Mine are not. So, if you have order, let me know.
Yeah, mine are not in order, but there were so many fantastic releases this year. I would say this is the year that I really got back into CDs. I've got a much bigger CD collection now, and one of my picks is actually a CD release, and that is The Cure's new record. I do have a vinyl copy of it, but it's very compressed, and it sounds kind of muddy. And one of the reasons why I wanted to show this is not only is the music is amazing, but it's the same price as the record, and you get Blu-ray, you get a instrumental album, and then you get the full album. So you get the full album, but instrumental, and then the Blu-ray audio. And the Blu-ray audio sounds incredible on this. So yes, 99.9% of things I'm going to buy is going to be vinyl. But every once in a while, something like this, which sounds incredible, and it's going to cost you the same price or less than the record. I totally recommend it. So The Cure. And supposedly they have a live album coming out. So I'll buy it.
Yeah, that vinyl sounds terrible. In fact, I sent mine back because I thought it's got to be something like they must have just sent me a crap copy of it. And then I got the replacement, and it sounded just as bad as the first one. So I got to do what you did. I got to get a CD copy of it, which is a shame. I mean, it's not like I paid that much for it, but still, even the vinyl itself, it looks like real splotchy, and it's black vinyl, but it just doesn't look clean like you expect a brand new copy should look. So I was real disappointed. I'm going to have to, I know Chris said he got the color vinyl. That sounds fine, but I'm going to end up having to either get that or get a CD copy of it.
They do have a double 45 RPM version coming out, but then you got to flip the record. So just keep that in mind too. So you might want to hold off for that.
Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. All right, Aaron, how about you?
Unfortunately, I'll never have that problem.
Yeah.
One record I'll never buy.
Yeah. I figured that, Aaron.
So much, but I can't handle Robert Smith's vocals. I just never liked him.
Yeah.
And it's just like fingernails on a chalkboard to me. Just, yeah, not a Cure guy, but I'm glad you guys like it. All right, my first one I got in an estate sale, and they had a bunch of records there, you know, like 2 boxes of them, and I ended up buying about 20 or 30 records, and there's a couple really good ones in there, including this, and this was kind of a special one for me. It's one of my favorite records ever. It's Dio, Holy Diver. You're thinking, why is that? You know, but this is actually a 1983 press, or 82, whatever year it came out, I can't remember. And it's a bootleg from Taiwan, but it sounds just as good as the American press almost. I put it on today, and it was like, because the American press of it, the original sounds really good. It's one of my best sounding records.
Yeah.
So this one here, so here's the, I've never seen this label before.
Oh, wow. It looks like the RCA label.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a Taiwan bootleg from 82 or 82, I think. And then it just sounds really good too. I was shocked. And it's actually, it's not listed on Discogs because it's unofficial bootleg. But there's one for sale or something like that, or somewhere I saw it that was like going for $100 for one of these. So
Wow.
like $10. But I'll take as many copies of this album as I can get. It's one of my favorites ever.
Yeah, I got it on CD. I've never found a vinyl copy of it, but is that yours? Where does that rank for you in terms of Dio's?
My favorite thing ever done by any band. It made when I did that top 10 albums of all time, this made the list. So that's how much I like this one.
You like it even better than Last in Line?
Oh yeah. Last in Line's close though. The only thing that brings, they're both almost, Last in Line's really close, but Mystery to me is not. It's the weakest track on either of the 2 albums, even though I like that one a lot. But this one's just every song, and it's where I first got into Dio too, pretty much. And
okay,
I'd have to say this would be my favorite Dio. Probably Last in Line next, and then for anything he's done, then it'd probably be Rainbow, Long Live Rock and Roll, then Mob Rules, and Heaven and Hell, and you get into Dream Evil, and there's I like
Dehumanizer.
What's that?
And Dehumanizer.
Oh yeah, that's good too.
Yeah.
Also, Rainbow Rising is great. The first Rainbow.
Yeah.
I like Dio. But definitely the first 2 and Dream Evil, I think, are the best Dio records for his own band. They're all classics. All the rest is really good too, but Sacred Heart's not quite as strong, I didn't think.
Well, I just want to say, I don't know if somehow the comments are disabled or if I'm just not able to see them. This is the first one I've done in a while. So if anybody's okay. All right. I see yours now. Okay. So
yeah. So
people start feeling chatty today. I just want to make sure I wasn't missing any, but before I got into mine. So mine, this is a release I got, and I saw this band over the summer. I saw them live. It's the second time I saw them live, and they just started reissuing their catalog again. And this is their second album. This is hard to see here, but it's a Violent Femmes.
Cool.
Their second album, Hallowed Ground, which they played this album and their first album in its entirety when I saw them live over the summer. And this really wasn't an album that I was all that familiar with, but it's more, Gordon Gano wrote the first album and this album at the same time and then just split them up. This is more, I don't want to say like a biblical theme, but it's definitely darker. It doesn't kind of have that goofy teenage angst that the first album does. I don't think it's necessarily a concept album, but definitely a change of pace. And it's one of those kind of like with Pinkerton, like Weezer did with Pinkerton, where it's definitely like, oh, wow, you definitely took a left turn instead of giving fans what they expected, which is like more of the debut album. They kind of went in a different direction. So it's very interesting. because I think when you're a new band like that, you do kind of risk alienating a lot of the audience that you gained with your first album. But I don't think that exactly happened. It's a good album. It's just very different in mood and thematically from the first one. So I was happy to get that. Actually, Chris Prophy showed it on his one of his episodes, and I didn't realize it had been reissued. And so I was happy to grab that as soon as I could. So
I love when that happens on YouTube. We were watching a video and someone's like, I just got this reissue. And you're like, oh shit, I didn't know it was out.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a pleasant surprise for sure.
All right. Well, my next one, I'm going to get out of the way early because I know it's not necessarily one of Jeff Witcher's favorite artists. That is the Van Hagar box set. So this box set, which is completely sold out, so hopefully you got it because I don't know if they'll do another pressing. If you've read the Alex Van Halen book, it doesn't sound like he's too fond of the Hagar years. But this set was awesome. It cost me about $100, and it's got, I had most of the albums, unofficial or OG presses, but it had Balance and For Unlawful Common Knowledge, and had a rarities disc with the songs from Twister and a couple other Hagar songs that were on the Best of Both Worlds, like greatest hits. So very, very cool box set. Rhino put this out. Rhino is just absolutely amazing this year. A ton of my releases are Rhino. But yeah, the Van Hagar box set. They have released For Unlawful Common Knowledge separately, but Balance and the Rarities disc has not been released separately. So, all right, that's my second pick.
Now, I don't hate Van Halen. I love the David Lee Roth era. That's my favorite era of the band. I'm just kind of, lukewarm, I guess, is maybe the way to put it with the Van Hagar era. I love 5150, and then it's just kind of, hit or miss for me. But hey, Jim, how's it going? Glad you dropped by. Your favorite purchase of 2024, the Yes album, Super Deluxe. I didn't realize they'd released that. I love that album. Sounds better than I could imagine. Yeah, like how could that sonically get any better than what it already is? But the sound stage was mind-blowing on all versions of the set. I need to get that. That's another, I had no idea. That's the great thing about YouTube is you discover new releases. But I love the Yes. I mean, that was such a great trilogy of albums right there with the Yes album and then Fragile, Close to the Edge, which I still consider to be the best progressive rock album of all time. I mean, you talk about a solid 3 run of records. Yes. Right there, they were the greatest band at that time for my money. So, all right, Aaron, what do you got?
Well, this one here, I love this album, and it's only got 2 new songs, a bunch of live stuff, but it's the first thing they've done in 15 years, and it's When the Moon Was High by Hermano. So they have 3 other albums and a live album, and then they quit, and it's John Garcia, who is in Caius, and he has some solo stuff. And what a great lineup. It's got a couple of guys from Super Fuzz, and Disengage. But it's a great band, one of my favorite bands. And this is the first thing they've done in 15 years. And I really love it. The live stuff sounds great, too. They're really great live. And then here's what the vinyl looks like. There's 2 different versions. I gave Josh the other one.
Thank you. It is awesome.
Yeah, I love everything John Garcia's ever done. He's one of my favorite singers ever. And here's the inner thing here with the lyrics and everything. Well, the song Breathe is amazing. I love that. That's one of their new songs on here. It sounds just like old Hermano, which is kind of like old Caius. Well, it's different though, but amazing record, and I was so happy they did this.
Sweet. Yeah, I know you're a huge John Garcia fan.
Yeah. One of my top 10 vocalists ever.
Yeah. All right, mine is this is I don't want to say it's the birth of garage rock, but it's definitely one of the bands that kind of spearheaded the whole garage rock movement. It's a band called The Seeds, And this is their second album from 1966. It's called A Web of Sound. And the great thing about this release, it's a reissue, but the great thing about it is that trying to get the glare to disappear here. The great thing about it is that it's one of these record jackets that comes in really heavy, thick cardboard. It's not like the regular vinyl, the vinyl jackets tend to be printed on right now, which is just kind of, this really thin cardboard. And it's got a cool gatefold with memorabilia and photos and things like that. The first disc is the original album. And then the second disc is a bunch of outtakes, alternate takes, mono versions of some of the songs. But one of the things I don't understand is the first track it's supposed to be called Mr. Farmer, but on here it's listed as The Farmer. But it really is like their first album, which I just got recently too. And then this album, I mean, it's really just heavy garage rock, a little bit of psychedelic sound mixed in. If you like kind of like the gritty early Kinks, and like, I don't know, some of like the Animals, some of like those early rough sounding Rolling Stones records. This is something that I think you would enjoy. But I've just gotten big into garage rock lately. I don't know why, but I've been picking up a lot of stuff from that particular era. But I love the Seeds. I know they don't have many records. I don't think they were around much after the 1960s, but the albums that they do have were very influential. Pushing Too Hard was I think their biggest single, which was off their debut album. And then Mr. Farmer, which is the leadoff song off there. It's very cool, very different. But I've always had a soft spot for like that mid 60s rock and roll. So
awesome.
I'll keep my eye out for that one, for any of those.
All right.
All right. My next pick is one that I probably spun the most last year, and that is going to be the ZZ Top Rhino High Fidelity box set. This is the albums from 71 to 76, so like their first 5 albums. Absolutely incredible. Here's the great thing is that, much like Aaron, ZZ Top was one of the first bands that I purchased a vinyl record of. It was Eliminator. I was a product of the 80s. I loved that album, and I loved Afterburner. But the vinyl community and Aaron and others helped me get into early ZZ Top by, like, Aaron would play Tipsy Tuesday and show a ZZ Top record and be like, oh, I love Brown Sugar or whatever song it was. And it was like, oh, and I just kept spinning them, and I bought a couple reissues. But this all leads to the main point of this is that the Rhino High Fidelity series sounds incredible. They're 33 RPMs, and they sound like a 45 RPM. They sound like a one-step. They are amazing. And this sold out instantly, but they reissued all the titles separately. So hopefully we'll get the next 5 albums from ZZ Top, and I will buy it day one, just based on how awesome this sounds. But yeah, ZZ Top, Rhino High Fidelity box set.
Yeah, that sold out really quick.
Luckily, they reissued them all separately, though. That's how I got them.
Okay.
Yeah, and now that I know how good those Rhino hi-fis are, I will be all over them when they come out too. Because they're the best-sounding records in my collection, except for the one step I have, the Van Halen 2.
Yep. And they're much cheaper than a MoFi.
Oh yeah.
Like MoFi is like $60. These high fidelities are 40. So yeah.
Yep, I got all of them here, the separate, and they're great.
Hey Tony, just want to say hi. I know you dropped into the comment section. Yeah, and they look great. Like the packaging on those is.
But you got to be careful because the jackets are a little bit bigger, so you got to find a little bit slightly oversized sleeves to fit them in.
Mm-hmm.
Luckily, Josh sent me some, and see they're actually sleeves, but they're
but they're nice and glossy and thick cardboard.
Yeah, they're a little bit bigger, so they're a lot bigger than a regular gatefold is. But they're worth it. They're absolutely great.
Yeah, I only got a couple. Like I got the
Tell you how
the
I-
Black Sabbath one.
Yes.
And Candio as well. But, you know, even though they're not as expensive as a MoFi, they're still a little bit outside my price range to buy more than like one or two at a time. But I'd love to snap up more of those.
And I was waiting for someone to show one of those because my next
Yeah.
one is this one, which is how I discovered the Rhino Hi-Fi series. I saw these used in a record store, First Cars, and then the First Cars record sounds really good. It's one of the best sounding, just regular records there are. It's killer. And this, but this Cars one I found, and it's sold out. You can't find it. But luckily, I found this used, and it blew me away. So of course, I ordered those ZZ Tops and the Candio, which is just as good, and of course, the Black Sabbath. They actually the Black Sabbath too, so it's available right now.
Yeah, those sold out faster than toilet paper at Taco Bell.
But it's like you're putting it on one of those records. It's like your first time hearing it almost. It's just,
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, you and Tony are on the same wavelength, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, Aaron, you're totally right, and man. And I do have another album I'm going to show from the High Fidelity series, but they need to put they just did all the Doors, Jim Morrison years. There's rumors that they're going to do the rest of the Cars catalog. I mean, Rhino just needs to keep pumping them out. I mean, they're picking some awesome titles. I think the Ramones already. I know the Stooges. I think they did the Stooges. So yeah, great series.
I love Funhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, it's your turn.
Oh, I thought that was me. I guess I could add related though. Okay, I'll just that was just a conversation about those. I'll do this one, and this one I got from Purchase Street Records because Josh found it for me, told me it was there, and I instantly sent him the money for it because I've been looking for it forever and it's expensive. It's kind of related to those in a way, but it's moved like this from the Cars. And this one I had the CD of, and I finally got it on vinyl. It sounds great on vinyl too, and it was after Ben Orr died, and this is the last album they did. So I now have every Cars on vinyl, but it's just sounds like old Cars except for without Ben Orr, which he was my favorite, but still like Blue Tip. That song's so good. That's the pick up the lead off song. But I like every song on this. I like this better than a couple of the originals. Maybe a little better than Door to Door. Panorama, I don't know. I like all the Car stuff, and it's a gatefold. They did a really good job on it. But these cost, over $100 usually when you find them easy.
Well, I wish they'd do a reissue of it because I'd grab it for sure.
Yeah, most people don't really know about this record. And then here's the lyrics, and
nice.
And it's cool because they didn't replace Ben Orr with another member. They just had the keyboardist play bass.
Okay.
So he does the keyboards and the bass. So it's like it's not anyone else from added to the Cars. It's all the original guys still, which is really cool. They did that. But yeah, that's one here. I was shocked I was able to get that one. So thanks, Josh.
You're welcome, bro.
Yeah, I'm a huge Benjamin Orr guy, so I'm real sad that he passed away so young because his vocal, the songs that he did vocals on were some of my favorite Cars tracks.
Yep, my very favorite one is a Ben Orr song. So my favorite two, actually.
Yeah, Tony, I didn't pull that box set just because I felt like it's low hanging fruit for me. Like I could have easily shown that, but those sound amazing. They really do. Aaron, you can attest to how great those mono reissues sound.
Oh, they're good. They're really good. And the cool thing about buying them separately is you get the hype stickers.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. I just couldn't get the Beatles story, or the box.
Yeah. Well, if you want a copy, I'll send you one just to complete the collection.
Well, I've got an original of it.
Oh, do you? Okay. Oh, all right. Gotcha. Okay.
I just didn't get a new copy of it.
Oh, we go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this isn't the next one I'm going to show is one of those where I kept every year. I would pray for a reissue of this because I really love it, and it's always been like a hole in my catalog for this artist, and I'm so happy that they did reissue it last year and I was able to get one, and that is X by INXS, their 1990 album, the one that followed Kick. And no, it's not as hit heavy as Kick was. It's different in its own way. I think they're just trying to do something a little bit slightly different from the Kick album, a little bit more mature, but I love it a lot. Suicide Blonde was the big hit off of here, but Disappear was also a single. And Bitter Tears also was a single off of here. But happy to have that. I love NXS. Their earlier stuff. I still like some of their later stuff, but it just doesn't compare to their 80s output.
It's kind of crazy how huge they were in the 80s, and you hardly ever hear anybody talk about them anymore.
Yeah, no, I don't know why that is, but they had such a great string of albums too, from Shabu Shabbat to, The Swing wasn't quite as popular, but Listen Like Thieves was great, Kick was great, X was great. Even Welcome to Wherever You Are, I like that one a lot. But anyway, I'm here to talk about NXS. I'll show up at every opportunity. So, Hey Bobby, how's it going? Just trying to catch up. I get long-winded talking about my record, forget about the chat. So, remastered version of Love It to Death. Yeah, do you think the cover will have the censored version of the cover? I wonder.
I don't know.
Or so both.
Cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, my next one also was put out by Rhino. It is the Black Sabbath Tony Martin Years box set. I mean, the one thing I will say is these Black Sabbath box sets are very reasonably priced. I think this thing had like 4 or 5 records, and it was under $100. I know we're all waiting for Born Again box set. That's the one that I think everybody wants to hear. But these albums, out of all the Black Sabbath albums in their entire catalog, these are probably the years I know the least about. I didn't listen to them in the 80s. I kind of listened to the Dio and the Ozzy. Even Born Again I discovered late. And this, besides like that stuff I saw at Headbangers Ball, a lot of it was like hearing it for the first time. So I really loved it. I love the price point. I love that Rhino threw in a tour program and a poster. Rhino has a great balance of the amount of tchotchkes you get and the amount of music you get. They did release all of these separately, so if you can't find the box set, you can buy them individually now. But yeah, Black Sabbath, love it.
Yeah, I've got all those records, but it's definitely my least favorite era of Black Sabbath. I'm not a big Tony Martin guy, but the music's still good. So
yeah.
I think it's worth owning just for that remix of Forbidden.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it sounds so different. It sounds really good. Yeah.
I've got originals of All But Forbidden. That one's in a bootleg. Yeah, Born Again is my third favorite Black Sabbath record after the 2 Dio ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I love.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why people rank Tony Martin low when you're competing with Dio and Ozzy. You know what I mean? And like, Ian Gillan, all these fantastic musicians and singers. It's hard to compete. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to compete with Dio. But go ahead.
His voice just is a little operatic for me at times, and it kind of putting. I don't know why.
Does Bruce Dickinson bother you the same way?
Oh no, he doesn't sound like he hits all the notes, but it doesn't sound like it almost sounds like it's forced from Tony Martin to me. Okay. He's trying to sing notes instead of just singing. That's right. Anyone that likes him, that's great, but that's just what I feel when I hear it.
Cool. All right, Aaron, you're up, brother.
All right, my next one. Now, the first album will be one of my all-time favorite records. This one here is great too, and it's "Stand By for Pain" from Widowmaker. So happy they re-released this. And this is Dee Snider's second band after Twisted Sister. He had Desperado, and they did an album, and then they had 2 Widowmakers. The first Widowmaker, Blood and Bullets, Piston Against the Wind, one of my all-time favorites, is right up there with the Twisted Sister one, but this one is heavier, than that even, and it's so good. And it's the sound on it could be a little better, but it's still really good and just amazing record. It's heavier than Twisted Sister a little bit. The Soundbite for Pain is, and just all the songs are great. I don't just run to get.
I was gonna say I've got their first album here.
I love that record. That's the old Ariel Bender. But this here, yeah, Dee Snider, and they have Al Pitrelli on guitar. He's just phenomenal. I think he played with Megadeth for a while too. So Al Pitrelli, but there's those Widowmaker records. The songs are so good, and it's so heavy. It's as heavy as his For Love of Metal record. You know, Soundbite for Pain might be the heaviest record he made. This one right here for heaviness. It's really heavy, really good. Every song's good too. So I can't remember if it's it's a gold vinyl, goldish, kind of a bronzish gold. I don't know, but sounds all right. Sounds good. I was thinking about playing this on a Tipsy Tuesday, even if I get back to when I get back to them, because I like it that much.
Yeah.
But if they'd ever released Blood and Bullets, oh man, they got to put that one out. I was addicted to that album when it came out, the first Widowmaker, which it's way up there. I'd grab it, the cassette. So pour that cassette out.
You know what's funny, Aaron, is that Roger picked that album as his like album of the week on the wall at Perch Street Records, and it was fun being there and having people ask about the band. But this one guy essentially said what you just said, which I know you've said before in the past on your channel. And I was thinking, this guy must watch Aaron's channel, because he verbatim said, yeah, this is Dee Snider's heaviest album, but the first album I like a little bit more. And I was like, you must watch fucking Aaron's videos. Yeah.
Yeah, I that had to have been a very interesting tour, the Born Again tour. I mean, not just because Ian Gillan was drunk every night, but I mean, to hear Black Sabbath through Smoke on the Water, how awesome would that be?
Yeah. I mean, imagine if they got a live concert they include in the Born Again box set. My God. Yeah.
I do get why people don't like Born Again. It's a little, you got to kind of hear it a few times. Even then, you know, it's different. So I just really love
and the mix is muddy, and I think some people that have ear for production, it's hard for them to get past it. But supposedly, they have the original master tapes now, so they can go back and hopefully put a little bit more separation in the instruments.
I want to grab my other Widow and show everybody, but let's see if I can find it.
All right. While Aaron's grabbing his, I'll talk a little bit about mine. This is one that, you know, I was waiting and waiting and waiting for a reissue of this. I could have bought, you know, an earlier pressing of this, but I just, you know, I didn't feel like laying down the money for it. I'm fine with a reissue of this, but it's Rock-A-Rolla by Judas Priest. I was so happy. It's on Coke bottle colored vinyl, which is pretty cool, but I'd never been able to find a copy of this, and I didn't feel like going on Discogs or YouTube, or eBay and laying down a bunch of money for it. So I was happy to pick this up. It's got a gatefold. I don't know that the original had a gatefold on it, but you know, people say it's like a bluesier version of Judas Priest, and kind of like, you know, a song like One for the Road and even Rock-A-Rolla remind me a little bit of like ZZ Top, how when ZZ Top got a little bit bluesy and stuff. But I love this era of Judas Priest. I love the early stuff. I love you know, everything until like, you know, Sin After Sin, and that when they started to get a little more, I mean, not that I don't like that era, but you know, I think some people don't care for the early Judas Priest, but you know, I really enjoy this one a lot. I love Run of the Mill. One of the longer songs on the album, like that jam that they have on there. But yeah, very happy to finally fill that hole.
I set that one up. I got an original, but I've been wanting.
Yeah, it sounds great. It sounds fantastic, actually.
Yeah. So the one Jeff has is the one that I purchased, and that's the remix. So the guitars are higher in the mix. I feel like the drums have more punch. That version of Rock-A-Rolla, Aaron, if I ever find another copy, I'll buy it for you. It's awesome.
I'm sure I'll come across it when I see it. I'll snag it. But this is that first Widowmaker, by the way. Blood and Bullets. This album here, I put right up there with Under the Blade, Stay Hungry, You Can't Stop Rock and Roll. So good. This first Widowmaker. And I had this on cassette. I've had it for years, and it's still my one I always owned, and I played it to death. Luckily, it's not tore because all these perforated edges, they tend to tear on these cassettes, especially when I was reading the lyrics all the time. But but this one here, they need to put that on vinyl.
Yeah.
One of my favorite albums of the 90s. Top 10.
Yeah, speaking of Ian Gillan, the Machine Head 50th Anniversary Deluxe, which, did you pick that up, Aaron?
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Okay. Yeah, I got to grab that as well. Yeah, Tony loves his cassettes. He did the cassette, the vinyl cassette.
Well, I haven't done videos in a while. Maybe I'll jump on that cassette one because I've got a lot of them. I've always been a cassette guy, so.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
All right.
Back to you, Josh.
All right. So my next one, over the last 2 years, Carter's gotten into a lot of the bands I listened to as a kid. And one of the bands he really got into was the Talking Heads. And it sent me down this Talking Heads rabbit hole. I started listening to all the records again. I knew all the records. I didn't have them on vinyl, though. And Aaron sent me a bunch, but there was one that I could not find. And they finally, Rhino did a reissue. Stop Making Sense. It's got this awesome book that comes with it right here with some extra liner notes and such, and pictures. And there's like the original cover, I believe. But I kind of saw this in here because I think it looks cool. It's definitely in my greatest live albums of all time. If I were to rank them, just a masterpiece of music, and the band is firing on all cylinders. You really just feel it in your soul when you listen to this record. So I really, really love it. Talking Heads is just one of those bands that, also I'm sure that my son loves it. That helps me want to listen to it more often. And that's why it definitely gets one of my best albums pickups of the year.
Yeah, I love that. I love how it just builds. Like it starts off with just the, David Byrne and the drum machine for Psycho Killer. And then they just kind of add layers. The movie is a really fun watch as well. If you find that on DVD or stream it or whatever.
I think they're streaming it on Max. So if you have Max, you can go stream it.
Yeah. Hey, John, Music Talk with John. Thanks for dropping by.
What's up, John?
Psycho Killer, like on multiple TV shows, like when we watch Netflix or whatever, I keep noticing it on different things. They're like older ones too, or newer, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That song keeps popping up everywhere.
Hey, Tony, good to see you, Tony. Thanks for dropping by. Have a good evening.
Guys, be right back.
All right, Aaron, it's your turn now.
What number are we on?
I think this is 5.
Okay, so this one here, one of my favorite artists, and I'd never seen this on vinyl. I got it down in my local record store, a while back, last month or so, and I instantly grabbed it. It was kind of pricey, but it's Along Came a Spider from Alice Cooper. And the cover of it was actually not that, but the original cover of it is actually this. With the vinyl is this cover here. And I've never really even heard this one, even though I'm a huge Alice Cooper fan. And it's amazing. This is one of my favorite Alice Cooper records now. And it's got Eric Singer playing drums on a lot of it, which I really like. And it's got a gatefold here. This record goes for well over $100. And it's I just can't believe I hadn't had it before. And it's excellent. It blew me away how good it was. It's after The Last Temptation, probably my favorite of the 90s and beyond era. Everything after Trash. This is my second favorite after the Trash era. Last Temptation and this. So I love this album. So happy I found it. Gary will like this one. Miss you, Gary.
Yeah.
Aaron, what's your thoughts on Brutal Planet?
Which what?
Brutal Planet by Alice Cooper. What's your thoughts on that album?
That's probably right up there too. That's real heavy. I love that album, but I think I like this one a little better. Just has that sound, just certain albums of his. It's just Alice Cooper, And it's not as heavy as Brutal Planet, which I have Brutal Planet. I like that one a lot. But this one, the songs are there. It's just really good. It's excellent.
Yeah. It's got an awesome album cover.
Yeah, well, this is like I said, this is only on the vinyl.
Yeah.
Because
That's really cool.
Always this. This is the actual cover on the CDs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things just black. No, it's a. Let's see. It's not black wax, so it's this.
Sweet.
Yeah. I love Alice Cooper, one of my favorite artists. Especially the era that most people hate is my favorite. The Stricter, Raise Your Fist and Yell. Those two albums.
Nice. All right, my next one is one that I owned on cassette back in the day, and it never occurred to me that this would get a vinyl release. I don't know why, and I just kind of stumbled on it. I'm like, holy shit, I got to grab this one. But this is a band that almost had like two separate eras, like the first era up through like 1984, 1985, and then the rest of their career, they sounded nothing like this, but it's Ministry. And this was their collection of early singles. It's called 12-inch singles, 1981 to 1984. And this is when they were kind of like a gothic synth pop. Like these were early EPs, early singles that Al Jorgensen put out. You know, a lot like some of the synth pop coming out at the time, like, you know, Depeche Mode, like The Cure, you know, some of those early synth pop bands that were out at the time. But like Every Day is Halloween is probably the song that most people would recognize off here, but it's got All Day, Cold Light. It's a 2-disc set. The first disc are the original singles and B-sides, the 12-inch versions. And then on the second disc, it's got other remixes, but also songs that were never released from that same period, that early 80s, 81 through 84 period. Overkill, an unreleased track. He's Angry, unreleased. Move, unreleased. So it's a really cool collection to have. I like both eras of Ministry, although I tend, because I'm a big synth pop guy, I tend to like this early version just a little bit more. So happy that they did a repress of it and I was able to get it.
Yeah, man, I was eyeing that collection. It looks really, really cool. I also dig both eras of Ministry, but they got much more industrial.
Oh yeah, they sound nothing like, you know, like Psalm 69 sounds nothing like, you know, With Sympathy or
New World Order
off here or Twitch. You know, it's just almost a completely different band, but I like both eras of it. So oh, look who stopped by. Hey Rich, how's it going?
Hey Rich.
Hey buddy.
Happy and healthy 2025 to you as well. Genesis, A Trick of the Tail, Atlantic 75 series. Wow, I'm gonna have to grab that. I love that that record, that first Phil Collins vocal record. Yeah, first Collins lead singer album, way before he turned into British Barry Manilow. Ouch. Ouch.
Poor Phil. Come on, give Phil a break.
You know, on The Trick of the Tail and on Wind and Wuthering, he's like I feel like he's trying to sound like Peter Gabriel. I mean, you know, his vocal style is very much Peter Gabriel-ish on those records, but I still love both of them. And, you know, that was when they still had Steve Hackett, so Genesis wasn't a quartet for too long, but I do love both those records. All right. Josh.
So the next one I had a hard time choosing because I wanted to represent all the unofficial presses I got this year. The unofficial presses this year was like me and Aaron's dream. Cry of Love came out, which is like a $500 record to buy an original. Wild Side, which is like a $400 record. Arcade, all of these great ones. So I picked Shotgun Messiah with Second Coming. This is a vinyl record. I've never held an original in my hand. I've never seen it at a store. I've always wanted it. And to have an unofficial, I wish it was 2 LPs because it is a long album. So I do wish they'd put it on 2 LPs because some of these unofficials on 2 LPs sound, better than albums I've bought at Target. So this album here is a great, great late 80s, early 90s hard rocking album that if you are a fan of the type of music I show on my channel, you will like this album, I promise you. So yeah, so I picked this one, but I could have busted nut by Tesla. There was like 50 of these unofficials that were all fantastic.
Agreed. That's my favorite show. And that was one of my 5 biggest grails when I joined the vinyl community. And it's so happy to have it, even an unofficial. Just it's great.
Yeah.
And they're a really odd band because they have 3 albums and they all are completely different than each other.
Yeah.
They were like really glam at the first album with a different singer. Then Tim Skold took over and did the Second Coming, and that album's the best one. Then they did the Industrial album with just 2 of them, him and Harry Cody. I think the drummer was still there, but it was mainly Drum Machine on that. But that's a good record too. Violent New Breed, great one.
Yeah, we've got that this year too as an unofficial. Yep. So, yeah.
Killer. So,
absolutely.
Now I can't do this without having one of my favorite bands here that they re-released one of their albums, which I only had originally. I have an original copy of the double record with both of them. You'll see what I mean. But it's Jar of Flies. I was just so happy they re-released Jar of Flies on vinyl from Alice in Chains, of course. And this is their, if you're counting the EPs as records, this will be their 4th record because it was Facelift, Sap, Dirt, then Jar of Flies. Yeah, and they did a really great job on this. It sounds amazing. And I originally, I only had it on vinyl with Sap, with the double record. I bought that right when it came out originally on vinyl. And this is the same inner sleeve it has on that too. It has all the lyrics. But it's just one of my favorite bands ever. And this is, out of those 4, it's my least favorite, even though I love this. But, stuff like No Excuses and Nutshell are just all-time classics. Well and Wasp, I love that little instrumental. It's so moody. But,
do you think they'll come out with a reissue of Sap?
Yeah,
they did. They did for Record Store Day. Hopefully they'll get repressed. But yeah, it was a few years ago.
I want Unplugged, and I still want the self-titled.
Yeah, I've got all of my. The Alice in Chains. I'm a huge Alice in Chains guy, so I've got actually an unofficial, Unplugged, and an original one.
Mm-hmm.
But this Jar of Flies sounds great. It's so good. Even though Sap is my favorite EP of all time, probably. This is up there in my top 10. Still, I love it.
All right, my next one. This was one I'd been on the lookout for, and I just kind of actually given up on it. And then I was in a record store one day, and I'm like, "Holy crap! I can't believe I found this." But I'm a huge Joy Division fan, and before they were known as Joy Division, they were known as Warsaw, and very much like punk rock, like very early raw punk rock. And so their first early releases, this is like a compilation of like their early singles and EPs and whatnot. And it's called Warsaw because that's what they were called at the time. And they changed it to Joy Division when they realized there was another band called Warsaw. But in any event, very happy to have this. It's on white colored vinyl, but it's got some early versions. Some of these songs appeared. Aaron, on Substance, I know you've got that collection. There's a couple songs that found their way onto that Substance, like the earliest stuff, like Leaders of Men, for instance. There's a version of Transmission on here, Shadow Play. And then there's some bonus tracks as well. So it's really got a lot of cool early stuff and rarities, but doesn't sound all that. It's a lot more kind of raw punk than the stuff that was on their 2, studio albums. But it's still, if you like Joy Division, you'll still, it's still recognizable as Joy Division, but it's a nice way to kind of round out my collection. That was the one thing I didn't have, so I was happy to grab that.
And thanks for getting me into them too, because that's a band that passed me by, and that's one of my favorites that you have sent me that I got into. I love the Joy Division records, and especially the song Warsaw. That's actually my favorite. It's kind of heavy. I like that one a lot. But.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I got you closer.
Yeah, first
and-
one, and I got the other one you were talking about too.
Yeah, yeah. Very cool. All right, Josh.
Okay, so my next one is an album that we've seen in this video already, believe it or not. It is an album I lived with my whole life. I can't remember life without this album. And that's the first Black Sabbath Rhino High Fidelity series. I have a Vertigo press. I have a reissue US press, and now this. And ever since I got this, I'm not going to spin anything else. It sounds incredible. So if you're a Sabbath fan, go get this while you still can. There you go, right there.
Yeah.
And my inner sleeve, unfortunately, I couldn't fit the Obi in there. But go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's like you're hearing that intro to the song Black Sabbath, and it's amazing sounding.
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right, this is gonna be a 2-for-1.
Yeah.
I have to sneak extra stuff in. I don't know why, but I just do. But my favorite band re-released 2 albums this year, which is rare for them, and they've been doing a series. All right.
Yeah.
And but the Transnational Speedway League from Clutch, the first Clutch full-length record, their heaviest record they did was a full length, and it's just almost like got a punk leaning to it. Excellent record, and this is totally different looking than the actual cover was. And it's got the cool gatefold, and it sounds amazing. This is the third of 4 reissues that they're doing, and they're having each member pick out a record and reissuing them. And this is the original. This is kind of like the original cover of the album, only it's like kind of orange in the background. It's got this lamp on it. And it's just amazing sounding too. And it comes with the autographed little thing there, but insert. But it's they're doing such a great job reissuing their records, and along with that, they put out one of my all-time favorites, "Slow Hold of China." This is an album of rarities and unreleased stuff at the time in the early '90s, I believe, and it's an album of throwaways that didn't make their albums, and it's one of my top 5 Clutch albums. It's that good. I love this album, "Slow Hold of China." There is CD versions, so they have bonus tracks, but this is how I originally have heard it, and every song on it is killer. It's just like some of my favorite Clutch songs, like "Four Lords" and "One More" is maybe my favorite song they've ever done. Stuff like "Gilda Meet Assassins" is on here with the lyrics of just the whole story. Amazing. Nickel Dime. I know, Josh, you like that one. The song China. And the first version of Willie Nelson is on here, which they've redone a couple times. But Willie Nelson, if you don't know it, it's a song called Willie Nelson. Check it out. It's kind of funny. Really cool song. Love it. So Clutch putting out great reissues right now. 2 in 1 year. I couldn't believe it. They haven't put a new one out this year, but I'll take the reissues because their stuff is just so hard to get anyway, most of their older stuff.
Yeah, Aaron's in heaven.
The Elephant Rider and Pure Rock Fury, they need to re-release, especially the Elephant Rider, which a lot of people really love. And I think it's a label thing. They were on a bigger label on that one, and it's hard to get the rights back for it. I think is why they haven't done it. But I do have a copy of it from a few years ago that they put out maybe 8 years ago. And that's going for hundreds of dollars now. And it doesn't even sound great either. It's good, but it's kind of low volume. You have to crank it up.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do anyway. So
yeah. Cool.
Hey, Alex, how's it going? Alex from Beer and Vinyl dropped in. Very happy. I've been watching a lot of his channel lately. He just did a video where he showed a bunch of great dollar records that he picked up, a huge haul of dollar records. There were some Moody Blues, some Procol Harum. One of the things that I love about Alex's channel, not to digress too much, is just the fact I feel like I get an education every time I watch, because he's always got stuff I've never heard of, artists I had no idea existed. And, he talks about who they are, the history, and what he loves about it. I mean, it's really one of the most high quality channels out there. So happy to have him drop by.
Beer makes it better.
Yeah. Is that Sabbath album available? Because the site says sold out. I think sadly, no. I think you missed the boat on that one. I don't know if Rhino is ever going to reissue that one, but you may have to grab it expensive on Discogs or eBay if you want one bad enough.
I got it months ago for 40.
Yeah, it's sold out now though.
It did? Oh, well. Last I looked a week
Yeah,
ago.
you almost got to be like right on it.
Yeah.
To snatch
Those cars
up.
were amazing sounding. So.
All right. Whose turn is it?
Yours.
I had a feel if I had to ask, it probably means it's my turn, and I'm just asleep at the wheel over here. Jesus. All right. Anyway, this is one. I didn't expect we are going to get another album from this band because it usually takes them about 8 or 9 years between albums. But lo and behold, much to my surprise, Tears for Fears came out with a new album in the fall of 2024 that I had to grab right away. And I guess the thing I didn't realize when I bought it was that it's one side of original songs, the rest are, well, I shouldn't say original, one side of studio tracks, and then the rest are live tracks from their tour to support the Tipping Point. But the songs on here, they don't sound, because I can't imagine they went into the studio just to strictly record one side of new material. So I have to believe these are probably outtakes from the Tipping Point, but really, really good stuff here. I mean, any of these could have fit on the Tipping Point. But really great studio tracks. And then I love live Tears for Fears. There was a Record Store Day release that I grabbed a couple of years ago from their Song Chair tour, which was really cool. But this spans, from their earliest album, The Hurting, and one of my other favorite Tears for Fears albums, The Seeds of Love, through the Tipping Point. So it's a nice live retrospective. It is a double album, so you got 4 sides of music here, and just having any new Tears for Fears so quickly after we got that great, one of my favorite Tears for Fears studio albums was awesome. So I know we're supposed to be talking about Shotgun Messiah, Widowmaker, and cool bands like that, but I got to get my new wave in there because I know you guys don't show any of it, so I gotta stick up for my favorite genre. Anyway,
all right. Well, how about if I show an artist that was around during the new wave movement? Would make you happy, Jeff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Will you?
Okay. Someone from the same decade. All right. How about Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers? So yeah, this is a 1982 full concert that was released. So Tom Petty was not a fan of releasing full concerts. What he said was he tried to stay away from the greatest hits played faster. So a lot of times when he made live albums, he would do those songs that maybe they only did a couple nights and add them in and try to make an eclectic mix of songs. So this does not sound like any other Tom Petty live album that you're going to get because it really is kind of warts and all, as they say. So if they don't edit out any mistakes, they didn't go back in the studio and do any doctoring. It's just a raw live album. But I do love it. I love Tom Petty, as you guys know. So, and it was put up by Third Man Records, Jack White's label. So
nice. I'll have to pop by there and pick that one up.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice. Tears for Fears. We're so close to the album when seeing them live. I thought it was a tape. Yeah, I wish I could have seen Tears for Fears live. It just didn't work out, unfortunately. Yeah, they've got a great collection. There's a couple Tears for Fears on vinyl that I want to get. Raul and the Kings of Spain was my favorite one without Kurt Smith. I love that, even though it's just basically a Roland Orzabal solo album. I love that one. I'd love to get Everybody Loves a Happy Ending. Love that album. Want to get a vinyl pressing of that one as well. Elemental can we get a reissue of that? But I don't know, because I don't know if Kurt Smith is kind of blocking them from releasing any of the Tears for Fears stuff when it was just Roland Orzabal. But I would still like to get reissues of those early ones. Tom Petty is great. The mistakes are the best part. They were having fun.
Totally agree.
Too bad the new Heartbreakers couldn't be more like Kiss and just have a flawless live out. Zero mistakes.
I like both
Kiss.
ways.
I agree.
I knew somebody was gonna go with a live wasn't live card. But
Both just helped it along.
Exactly, yeah. And I wouldn't change a thing about it. I love Alive.
I do too.
hey, Vinyl Lounge, how's it going? Thanks for jumping on.
You know what I was thinking is the Tears for Fears live album is kind of like Kiss Alive 2 in reverse. Like Kiss Alive 2, Kiss starts with the live music and then ends with a half a side studio. Tears for Fears just reversed it. Put the studio stuff first.
They kind of stole they stole Kiss's original idea. But yeah, that's
Well, that's
funny.
a nice segue.
We need some Van Halen live albums this year. That's what we need. We need some.
Fair Warning era.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if it's soundboard recording, like anything early, you know, the best years of Van Halen, we don't have a live album from.
That's so weird.
Yeah. We need it.
know.
That's my hope.
Am I? I can't remember.
Who went last?
Petty, right?
Yeah, I did Tom Petty. So you're.
Are we done with our last two? I don't have my number.
Yeah. I got two. I have two more in this stack, I think.
Oh, okay, so I got three more. Well, this
Van
is
Sharon lives. Van Sharon live. Yeah. Do we need that?
No, we don't need that.
It's one of the few like glam rock bands that I never liked was Extreme, and then when he went to one of my favorites, Van Halen, I was so disappointed. But I gave it a shot, and then the shot was over quick. So I love Van Halen so much. Van Halen 3 was such a disappointment. Even when I first, I tried to like it, played it a bunch of times, tried. Some of the music's were pretty cool on it though, but he wasn't a good mix with them. Well, this one here is one I found at my local record store this year, and it's one of my favorite records. It's from the early 70s, and it's a Japanese pressing of the first Kiss album. Kiss, talking about Kiss, so I had to put it up right here. So amazing. I love the Japanese pressings. They're so quiet. I don't mean the music, but everyone does. There's no surface noise usually on them at all. They're just really clean sounding, and to my ears, they always sound good because I'm not a big bass person. I grew up. I lived in an apartment, so I always tried to turn the bass down so I could turn the music up higher, so it wouldn't irritate the people as much because they didn't have that thumping. So I got used to it with the bass on, but not quite as high. So the Japanese pressing sound great to me. So that's what I like anyway. So well, this is just so cool. I'm glad I finally found this. And then Josh happened to find me this at Purchase Street too. And
nice.
And Asylum, one of my favorite 80s Kiss records. The most underrated era of any band is the 80s Kiss records. They're just so good. Every one of them. They're metal masterpieces, in my opinion, like hard rock, whatever you want to call it. Love the 80s Kiss so much. For me, I grew up with that, got me into Kiss, and then I went back and got into the 70s, but I love that 80s output. So there we go. I'll shut up about Kiss. So, love Maria, hate them.
All right. This is one of my favorite Neil Young albums, and I was so excited when I think they reissued it. At least it came on my radar. I found this last year. I'm like, I can't believe it. They finally reissued it. But it is the Amazing Freedom album from Neil Young, which has got Rockin' in the Free World on it, El Dorado, so many cool. Don't Cry. Love this record.
Yes.
There's a covered version of On Broadway, which kicks ass. I got this on cassette back in whatever, 89. Is that when it came out or whenever?
Yeah, right around there.
Yeah, maybe 90. I don't know. Whenever it was, but I played it to death. Never had a copy on vinyl before. I have it on CD, but just to have it now on that format as well. And it's actually spread out over 2 discs, even though it's not a gatefold. There's 2 discs here. And it sounds phenomenal. Could not be happier. But
Jeff, oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I totally agree. I have an OG press and the repress, and the repress sounds better. It's because I'm 2 LPs. But what were you going to say, Aaron?
Oh, I just said I need to pick that up because I didn't even know that was out. That repress that, and I don't have that one. I'll have to get that. And that is one of my pet peeves, though, is when they put double records non-gatefold. I don't like sliding both the records into one part like that. It bugs me. So
I don't know, like, how hard would it be to make a gatefold? How much more expensive would it be? I'll pay like a little bit extra just to have the gatefold. But yeah, it irritates me when you've just got a single sleeve and you got 2 records stuffed in there. That's one of my pet peeves.
It's even worse when you get like 4 of them in there. Some of them do like 3 or 4, and they're all
It's ridiculous. Van Halen and Dallas from RSD is okay. I wish the song selection was better. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm like, I don't know. Is it worth it?
Yeah, it's for unlawful carnal knowledge here.
I want the
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great intro to Neil Young. Freedom. I got to get Weld also. Hey, Sam, you did miss Tom Petty. Where you been?
Yeah.
It's been all Tom Petty. Our first 9 picks were Tom Petty. It was amazing. It was incredible. What an incredible coincidence. And we're like, where's Sam? He would love this dream right now. Robin Trower, Bridge of Sighs.
Awesome.
Did they do a reissue of that? Huh.
All right. So my next one was gifted to me by Aaron. It was one of my all-time grails. I loved it, this album, and I wanted to hear it so badly. That was the first record we spun, I think, when I visited, and that is Rhino Bucket. Yeah, I mean, this is just all I can say is if you like AC/DC, you're going to like Rhino Bucket. And Aaron, I wanted this album so badly, so I really do appreciate it. So yeah, it has not. I have a little bin like near my record where near my turntable where our albums I haven't shown on my channel or ones that I'm currently listening to, and this has not left that bin, Aaron, since you gave it to me. So thanks, bro.
All
right.
A real hype sticker.
Yeah, it's very unusual hype sticker there, but cool nonetheless.
I looked into that. That's just the first one. I always call that my favorite AC/DC record. So
yeah, it's awesome.
Rhino Bucket and Grunt Truck confused for some reason.
Grunt Truck's grunge-ish, like heavy
Is
grunge.
it?
Yeah.
That's
I think it's just the artwork.
Yeah,
I think it's the artwork. I've never heard either of those albums. I'm just saying, like, when people show it, I think maybe because the title is like vertical or something on both those records. I don't know. I always see them and I get them confused.
Yeah, I used that on one of my lost classics of the '90s, and I played it on Tipsy Tuesday. It's one of my favorite records.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right, so this one here, can't believe I found this. Luckily, I got it as I used some of my trade at the record store for it, or I wouldn't be able to get it. But it's amazing. I'll just show it. Now this is an original In the Shrink of Kill 'Em All.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually like the '80s version with the extra songs Blitzkrieg and Am I Evil. That's how I'm used to hearing it. But to have an original press, and it's just meant because it's still in the Shrink. Kill 'Em All original press. I was shocked I was able to find this because I never had any of the originals. And there's the label here. But yeah, it's a record, and it sounds great. I'll play it. I don't care how much it's worth. But yeah, I was so happy to. Oh yeah, hey, that's right, I did. But this one, original press, Kill 'Em All, one of my very favorite purchases of the year, easily. So
awesome. Yeah, it's a beautiful record, Aaron.
It sounds good too. So,
yeah.
And it completes Sam's thrash metal collection.
Yeah, Sam.
All the Thrashicana, Sam.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Only American thrash with brothers.
Thrashicana. That is awesome.
All right. Well, I didn't. Sorry.
There's a really great thrash band. My favorite. They're all related. So they're brothers. There's cousins. There's Death Angels. So you might like that one too, Sam. They're really good. Really extreme.
There was a box set with Freedom, Ragged Glory, Walden Art. What?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I bought it.
I am jealous.
That's awesome. I loved Neil Young.
I only have Freedom. I need the other three, so that would have been a great pickup. All right. Well, I didn't show the Beatles mono box set, like I said before, but I'm not going to go a whole episode without talking about a Beatle. And so this is a cool release that Paul McCartney came out with earlier in the year. It's called One Hand Clapping. It's a double album. And from my understanding, you think I would know more about this release than I do, but my understanding of it is that some of these were like rehearsals for the Band on the Run tour with the band. I think they're like live in the studio recordings kind of a thing, but the track list is really cool. There's Jet, Soily, which was a B-side, Sea Moon, Little Woman Love, which was a single, Maybe I'm Amazed, My Love, Bluebird, Let's Love, which was an unreleased track, All of You, I'll Give You a Ring, which was a B-side. That was a B-side to Take It Away. I didn't realize that it was, there was a version of it that was a B-side of the Take It Away single from the Tug of War album, Band on the Run, Live and Let Die, 1985. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I'm the only one on this chat who gives a shit. But anyway, all that to say, it's a great track listing, great stuff performed live by Wings, circa 1973. Great release. I know there was some of these got released on. There was like a 25th anniversary disc of Band on the Run that came out several years ago. But to have a full album of that was really cool. And I got it for Father's Day, so I didn't technically buy it, but I would have.
Exactly. And you may have indirectly bought it. Like one day you bought them something, which led to them having more money to spend money on you. It works that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all getting the new CCR remasters on Craft. I would love to. I didn't realize there was.
I didn't realize that either. I like Creedence a lot.
Yeah.
I could use all new copies and stuff. I have the what is it? The first record I have, the acoustic sounds. That's amazing sounding.
Yeah.
But they're kind of beat up.
I know all my CCR copies. They're like so beat up. Like the records are in good condition, but like the sleeves are all like ring wear, and I mean
this one isn't one of my favorites, but
yeah. The only one I need to get, and it's one of those where it's like I'm not paying a lot of money for this piece of crap album, but it's Mardi Gras. Now, is it whatever the last one was? What was the last?
Mardi Gras. That's it.
Yeah.
One by far.
Yeah. The one without Tom Fogerty on it, but
yeah, but this is a white label promo. Sounds really good.
Oh, nice.
I just had it here, so I just thought I'd show it.
Yeah, I love CCR. That's one of those artists that I need to really upgrade my collection on. I just haven't gotten around to it. But, I mean, they were arguably the best band of the late 60s. I mean, they had hit after hit after hit.
Oh, in just a couple of years.
Yeah, like 3 albums in 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Beatles. The Beatles were 8 years for all their stuff.
Oh, yeah.
America was all for the Beatles, and CCR was like shorter than that even.
CCR albums like Cooler with Creases, Water Stains, and Cigarette.
And like, rings on them from setting your beer on it.
I look cooler with that look too, John. Yeah, you're a long way off from having creases and water stains, Sam.
All right, guys. So my last pick is a record that's pretty hard to find. So if you can find it, I definitely recommend getting it. It's one of my favorite '80s bands, and their unplugged performance, Dokken, One Live Night. So they never did MTV Unplugged. This is something they did themselves, but it really is. George Lynch just shines on this album. He sounds so awesome, and Don Dokken's voice is still incredible. The band sounds hungry. Obviously, they were at a point in their career where they knew they may have to reinvent themselves somehow, and then this Unplugged was a great way to hopefully introduce people to the band. So yeah, I love this release. If you find it, grab it because it's super hard to find.
Does John Lynch play mandolin on that album?
I don't think so. I don't remember hearing a song with mandolin.
That was a joke. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, but they do some covers on here. So let me just see, where is it? Yeah, Nowhere Man. So they do a Beatles song. So there you go.
Play that for me when I was in town. You had it and you didn't play Nowhere Man for me?
It's because I want you to come back.
Yeah.
Come, now you have a reason.
Yeah, I bought their new album, and it was all right, but it's kind of disappointing. It's more like a Don Dokken solo album. He's the only original member, and his voice isn't there like it used to be.
Yeah.
It's kind of a one tone all the way through, his vocals are, but it's all right.
Yeah.
What year is that from?
Dysfunction era. So that was 95, right?
I like Dysfunctional a lot.
Yes.
Who was it? Emerson, Lake and Palmer on that one, on Dysfunctional.
Yeah, if I ever find another copy of this, Aaron, I'll grab it for you, man. I have no doubt you love it.
I love Dokken. Okay, I gotta figure out. Okay, I'll go with this as my last one. I have a crappy sleeve on it. Didn't even know. So this one here is been one of mine and Josh's grails since we were both in the vinyl community. It was never on vinyl. Even originally, I have it on cassette. But Josh actually became friends with the singer, and he's kind of contacted me, and he contacted me and sent me a VCLT, which is really cool. But it's tough with Fist First, the second Tough album, heavier than the first one. But both their albums are so good, and they really don't quite sound like they look. They look like a total glam band, but they're more heavy than most of them, even though they did some ballads that were really good too. But this album here that starts off with Tie to the Bells, that song is so good. And In Dogs We Trust, I love this. It even has a bonus song on here called Another Man's Gun that wasn't on the original release. And they finish it off with a really cool version of 16 Tons, the old country song, but they do it really well. And his voice really fits it. He's got kind of a deeper voice. He's also high. But tough, Fist First. So happy they put this out on vinyl, and it's on this kind of yellowish orange wax. And then here's the insert. And Stevie Rochelle, really nice guy. He runs a podcast now that's really cool. What's that called, Josh? You remember?
Metal Sludge.
Yeah, Metal Sludge. Yep.
Yep.
But, this is one of my favorite bands of the early '90s. They look kind of like Poison, but they'll kick Poison's ass. They're way heavier, just way better. Just a killer band. I like Poison all right, but these guys, it took them a long time to get their first album out. They've been around for a while, a few years before they got it out, and that album's good too. And this Fist First, amazing record. And he even autographed it, which is really cool. So, and I got a bunch more, but all in there.
Yeah, the funny story I have is Stevie Rochelle called me one day at work. We're talking online, and I was talking about the album that came out before that, and he's like, "Hey man, let me give you a call." And he called my phone, and he's like, "Text me anytime." So when me and Aaron got the first reissue, I messaged him and I said something like, "Oh, me and Aaron want Fist First," and he's like, I don't think that'll ever happen. And then it happened. So there you
go.
Awesome. Yeah, he sent me a really cool VCLT with some shirts and autographed CD stuff, and he's a really nice guy. So that was kind of like blew me away that a guy from a band that I listened to back then, I was driving around with my best friend blasting it, driving around town, singing along, and then years later, that's just really cool. So,
Hey Vance, how's it going? Good to see you. Not
Hi,
see you, but glad you're here. All right, this one's for Sam. I saved
all right.
my Americana pick for last. Hopefully he's still around. But this actually, I got this one when I was in Boston. I was at Rogers store. And this is Wilco. And Being There, which I'd never had on vinyl, never be able to find it. This is a box set. So it is 4 discs. It's got the original double album, and then it's got 2 discs of outtakes. And the title is actually Being There was a title of a movie with Peter Sellers from, I want to say 79 or 80, one of his last movies. But yes, before they got like real experimental and real kind of more abrasive alt rock. They were originally, Jeff Tweedy was in Uncle Tupelo. And then the first 2 Wilco albums are kind of in that Americana, like alternative country, if you want to call it. But still, I love that record. It was a double record, so it's a shit ton of music. But it's if you like Wilco, regardless of what era of Wilco, there's something to love. It's almost like their White Album because it's very diverse collection of music. But so happy. I got it so cheap too. I think I got it for under like $50. I couldn't even believe it. How cheap that one was. And then Josh picked me up the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. There were like 8 discs collection, which was just incredible. So this was a year of Wilco. Wilco is one of those bands. I've seen him live a couple times, and it's kind of like, I don't know. I go through phases where I'm trying to get it, looking for Wilco, buying Wilco, and then I just kind of forget about him. And then, I get in the mood for them, and then I realize like why I love them so much. But real happy to get that one. That definitely filled a gap in my Wilco collection. So Yankee Hotel Foxtrot is a dance you should go with, Dancing with the VC Stars. Yeah, it's going to be a thing now.
I've actually never heard Wilco.
Yeah. 2024, Ted Nugent, 45 RPM. That's one of Stranglehold, right? And Hey Baby.
Well, I thought he put a new album out a while back, but it was only like on streaming, I think. I don't know if that's what that is. So
No, I think they were talking about the first Ted Nugent on audiophile, 45 RPM.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sky Blue Sky is a great one. All right. Well, damn, we went through our 10.
There we go.
Yeah. How about that? Took us just over an hour too. Any honorable mentions you guys want to show, or anything you pulled that didn't get to make your top 10?
I had one that was going to be in my top 10, but I was trying to look it up because there's something special about it. I can't remember. Maybe you can help me. But I got this a while back, and I'm a Led Zeppelin fan, but they're not one of my favorites, but I like them. But I heard this version of this record, and it blew me away. Usually I listen about a side of Zeppelin at a time. But this one here, it's like a 1982 or 3 remix they did. I can't remember. Someone, Gray, I think, did the remix. But it's known as one of the best. It's like the best sounding version of this record, and it's amazing sounding. It's like you hear it's like really great sound stage, great separation, and the guy down at my record store knew exactly what it was. He told me about it, so I said, okay, I'll try it out, and it just blew me away. It sounds so good. I never heard this album quite sound as good.
How would you identify that as that specific pressing? Like if you were in a record store and you saw.
Well, it's got more of the color here is a little different. And it was released in the 80s, like early 80s. It was either 82 or 83, I think. And I can't remember that. I was trying to look it up when I first started the video, trying to look up the name of the guy that mixed it, and I can't remember because it's known as like the Robert Ludwig mix of Led Zeppelin 2. It's kind of like his mix, and he did this one in 4, I believe, back in the early '80s. These two, and they're a lot of people say they're the best sounding or one of the very best sounding versions of those records, and this one I can see why.
Wow.
And yeah, I was totally shocked at how good it was, and I got this amazing record from Beautiful Creatures. I never thought I'd ever have this on vinyl. Singer from Bang Tango, love them. And I found these at a store this year in Boise from what's the name of the these two original Creator records, amazing. And these almost made my list, and they both came out the same year. And I'm wondering if there's the second record too, because it's Under the Blade, the 40th anniversary edition. So it's got a whole nother record with some bonus stuff. Under the Blade, my favorite Twisted Sister, and they also put out Stay Hungry, which has an extra song called Blast 'Em Fast and Loud. Well, extra on each side, and then side 2 ends with Never Say Never. Both really good songs that weren't on Stay Hungry originally, and then they have a whole live album along with them. And these are great sounding and just killer. And my only thing I really loved from Record Store Day this year was the Malfunction release, which is Andrew Wood's band before by the Love Bone. And I was so happy to get this. I have the cassette of Return to Olympus. I've had it since it was out. But Andrew Wood was my favorite singer, so that was really cool. It's really raw, but really good if you like him. So that's it. I didn't have too many.
Yeah. Hey, Kristen, good to see you.
Unless you're counting all these, so I can just flash. They put out both of these this year, the nonfiction records. There's Killer, Alan Tecchio, lead singer, and I finally got Preface too. Josh sent me the first one, and then this one that Josh sent me is so killer.
Yeah.
And then of course McQueen Street.
Yeah.
I got to play this on a Tipsy Tuesday. I've got to. And the DLR Band, one of my favorite David Lee Roth records. My third favorite after Your Filthy Little Mouth and Eat 'Em and Smile. That's my third. So happy to get that. And those are mainly from Josh. So thank you, Josh.
No problem, brother.
Well, 2024 was a great year. Hopefully 2025 will be another great year of reissues.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, let's talk football. Hey, how is it that each of us in our core group of friends had our favorite football team and none of them made it to the Final Four? How the hell did that happen?
It'll happen next year.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, but
it's going to be tough for losing both their coordinators, though. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
They both got coaching jobs.
I'm telling you. God, what a miserable January for football.
I'm going to cheer on the Commanders, I think. That's who I'm going to go for.
They have an extra a couple of them, so I'm happy with them. It's my brother's team, too. So, yeah, I was just happy the Chargers even made it this year, the first year of their kind of rebuild they're doing. So, I would like them, of course, but I was never like, oh, man, because it's just building up.
Yeah.
Well, the Broncos, the Lions, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Chargers, none of them. Like we have bad mojo or something.
Yeah. It is.
At least we have Kendrick Lamar to look forward to. Yippee.
I'm happy.
Yeah.
They've been my nemesis for.
Well, any last thoughts? Anything music related? Any
No, I mean, just that I'm happy to be back here with you, Jeff. I love doing videos, and Aaron, always great seeing you, brother. Let's do a video and have our wish list for 2025. Maybe we'll do something like that where we can, name the albums we hope to find either in the wild or get a reissue.
Yeah, maybe next week we can do that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully Chris and Gary and Brandon can make it back. I'd love to do them again.
Yeah. Well, it didn't work out this week, but I'm still glad that it was the three of us. I'm glad to see you guys again. I'm glad everybody who joined us, everybody who participated in this chat. It was definitely happy to see all you guys. Mahomes is out. Really? Serious? Is he really out?
I don't think
No,
so.
I think he's making a joke about Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Jeff was going to go throw some money on the Bills if Mahomes is out.
Yeah. Thanks, Vance and Alex and Sam and everybody, Tony, everybody who joined in on the chat. Thanks for coming around. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you. Who am I forgetting? Thank you, Brian. I feel like I'm on, what was that? Kids TV
Award show?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I got to get off here before it
Reverend
goes
Bush.
off the rails.
Yeah, I got to work in the morning. So, all right, guys.